You are welcome. We have history, and like I promised last week, that will have a continuation of the topic we started last week on military leaders. We promised to have a continuation, and we said we're going to look at the effect of military rule, the effects of military rule. So last week's lesson, we identified some leaders who took charge over the country, took coup d'etat, and we also considered their respective years they came into power. So in essence, for today's lesson, we want to look at the effects of military rule, and under this we'll consider the pros and cons, or we will look at the positive and negative effect of military rule. Okay, so when we talk about military rule, it means that we have someone from the military taking charge over the affairs of the country. So a military leader is someone who is a high-rank military officer. Okay, a military leader is someone who is a high-rank military officer. And so when we talk about military rule, we are looking at a dictatorship in which the military exerts complete or control over political authority. So the military officer exercises complete control over political authority, and the dictator is often a high-ranked military officer. The dictator or the leader is often a high-ranked military officer. Okay, now let us consider the effect of military rule. For positive, we say there is total adherence to rules and regulations. Yes, because we know that these people came in with coup, and it's more like using an autocratic system of leadership. So what is implemented is implemented. Nothing can be changed to adverse that. So what happens is that the citizens adhere to the rules and regulations of the land. There is total adherence to rules and regulations. Everyone is afraid to flout the rules. Okay. It can have a deterrent effect on crime. Very good. What happens is that crime rate reduces. Okay. So if the rules are stated that anyone who commits crime will also be killed, and because we know that for military leaders, what they say is what they stand for. They don't go back on their words. Certainly, the individual is afraid to commit crime. Hence, we have reduction on crime rate. It can also provide effective responses during emergency situations. Very good. So where there are issues to be attended to, and we know that for even it's obvious when you are applying the route or the road and you are in a vehicle, and these police officers or military officers are coming, they're able to just maneuver through irrespective of the traffic they have, because of that respect people have for them or for their job. So in essence, what we are saying is that it provides effective responses during emergency situations. It provides effective responses during emergency situations. So if a dictator decrees that an action should be taken, then it is done. This format can be very useful should a natural disaster or other form of emergency occur. Resources can be allocated with one simple command instead of multiple. So that is it. Effective responses are given during emergencies. Okay. Dictatorship can take the lead on innovations. What this means is that a dictator does not worry about making sure. The dictator needs not to worry about making sure it can stay in power. He can order people to perform research as part of their regular duties. This can lead to fast advancement in number of fields if the resources are properly allocated. Okay, so they are able to implement things, they are able to come up with innovations, and by the time they leave office, a lot of things has been done, and what they say is what is being done. So you realize that everyone stick to the rules, and everyone is on the ground, and everyone is working. So that is the effect, the positive effect of military rule. It can also provide ruling stability. It provides ruling stability. Okay, so because it is seen as a military group, it can be in power for several decades. Okay, and research has proven that there has been about 12 world dictators that have been in charge for 25 years or more. Okay, so we have a stable ruling country where we can have one military group being in power for decades, for years. And one example is Jerry John Rawlings. Jerry John Rawlings, yes, he has been the longest serving president. If you want to add when he came into pass a military officer till we had democracy, yes, he's one example we can consider in Ghana's history. Now, the negative effect, we have abuse of power. Okay, the military leader abuses power, and there is no one to stand in his way because everyone is afraid. So we have that dictatorship, that autocratic form of leadership in that office. Then there is political instability. So when we make reference to a Chiampong, a Free Frank, realize that some of them came in power 1 year and they must leave office because another coup took effect and they were taken off power. So some of them few months, 1 year interval. So that is it. So it also brings about political instability. Then we have loss of human lives. Very good, because it comes in that forceful way. Most lives, people who would want to defend the cause of their right will end up losing their lives. So we have loss of lives of citizens and of patriotic people. Then we have loss of government property. Yes, a lot goes into that. When they come into office, a lot comes into administration, administrative work. And so when coup set in, what happens is that the government lose lots of property. Okay, lots of property. Okay, so what happens and a loss of government property is that sometimes when they are leaving office, they take away the property. They take away the property belonging to the government because they don't want to go without anything. So they carry something that belongs to the government in the name of they own them. So we can say that they steal them. They steal government property. And if investigation is not done, then means that we cannot retrieve such properties. It also creates fear and panic in the citizens. Yes, you come to the country and the people are afraid because they have limited rights. They are not able to exercise their right fully. So even when you want to talk, you are afraid to talk. So there is that fear among citizens. Then abuse of human rights. Yes, there is abuse of human rights. The human rights, okay, where we have the freedom of speech, freedom of movement. Those ones are right. Sometimes when this will come into power, the citizens are limited. Like I said, when even you want to voice out, okay, you want to be heard because you don't like the treatment given, you cannot because of this dictatorship we have. Okay, then we have delay on government projects. Very good. We have delay on government projects, and I think that we have witnessed a whole lot and we have cited some around. Okay, Comparing this point to the second one, where we say political instability. So because there is quick change of people in government or in authority, what happens is that it delays government projects. So this leader is in power and this leader is working. When he's taken off like that abruptly, what happens is that whatever project he started doing is left ajar, and so it delays the project. Another government can also start something else, and so realize that we have buildings that are not completed, we have facilities that are there and they are not, nothing is done to improve them for usage. Then the last thing is it scares investors. Very good. So people who would want to invest into the country, are afraid to do that because the country is not stable. Nothing is stable. So they are afraid to come into the country, to invest into the country. The possibility of you even getting what you invest is very low, and so it scares them away. Very good. So this is where we'll end our lesson. Briefly, we have looked at the effect of military rule. We have looked at what military rule is, who a military leader is. Then we have also considered the positive effects of military rule, and also looked at the negative effects of military rule. Now this will be our question. Write down 6 effects of military rule. 6 effects of military rule. What it means is that you can combine the positive and the negative. You can write the two combined to have 6 effects of the military rule. I wish you all the best. Stay safe. Do well to snap the assignment you do and submit through my WhatsApp number. Have a blessed day. Bye bye.